This is BC's Fraser Canyon, home to the Nahatlatch Valley. This summer, the Kookipi Creek wildfire tore through here, leveling homes, wiping out livelihoods, and torching thousands of hectares of land. We traveled to the valley to see the destruction.
Everything was gone.
The devastation.
We put our life's work into the place.
And the call for action.
We have to do fire management in British Columbia so differently.
We're here at Rio Rafting Resort in the Nahatlatch Valley. It's a 40-year-old family business that was built completely from the ground up. And sadly, after the Kookipi Creek wildfire tore through, much of it is now gone. Over 4 decades, Brian Fogelman and his family have built Rio Rafting Resort, a staple of the Fraser Canyon, welcoming visitors, employing dozens. A community and business tucked away in the forest, nestled on the Nahatlatch River. How much of the property do you think was destroyed?
Well, all of our new builds and 4 of our biggest, more important buildings. The only one that survived this area here, it's like a little oasis was left.
On July 8th, lightning struck, igniting what became the Kookipi Creek wildfire. BC Wildfire Service responded, and by the end of July, the fire was still burning but considered held. By August 7th, the service was monitoring it by flying overhead. But the smoldering flames were never fully extinguished. On August 17th, strong winds and hot, dry conditions saw the 485-hectare wildfire erupt, growing another 10,000 hectares in 48 hours. Fogelman raced to evacuate guests, his staff, his family. There was no warning other than the encroaching flames. As you were evacuating people, evacuating equipment, getting everything rounded up, what's going through your head?
You know, I was naively optimistic because I thought that somebody would come to fight the fire or to help us or whatever. I honestly felt that being close to the river, we would be spared.
When he did return a few days later, about 80% of the resort was damaged or destroyed. He says it's millions in losses.
I have to think that we were neglected. We were not a high priority given some of the other efforts and maybe the lack of resources. But I know that I feel like we were left to burn on this side of the Nahatlatch.
We're in this small community of Kiefers. It's not too far from Rio Rafting, and during the fire, many properties were lost here too, like the homes of Sarah Johnston and her family, which used to stand just behind me.
So this was our son's house, and then there was our shop and hall, and then our house was over there.
2 years ago, Sarah Johnston and her family escaped busy lives in Chilliwack for something quieter. 5 families were living here when the fire swept through. Only one structure remains.
My husband woke me up and said, "Oh, we have to get ready. The fire's coming." And then we had about 2 hours and it started coming over the hill.
When you did finally get to come back, what went through your mind?
I don't know, I think I'm still kind of realizing that we actually don't have anything left at all. We don't have our business, we don't have our home.
Sarah and her family weren't able to purchase home insurance because of the remote location. Now, they don't have a home to return to. So what are you doing now?
We don't know. Right now, we just got it cleaned up, and we are gonna stay with my parents for the winter because we can't stay in our trailer. Just be too cold.
Like Brian, Sarah is upset with how BC Wildfire Service managed the fire.
If they were monitoring it, they were doing a very good job. And we didn't even get any warning. Nobody even told us that the fire was coming.
We've heard how residents felt abandoned, so we took that to the BC Wildfire Service. Much of the frustration that people are feeling is around the decision to hold the wildfire and monitor it from the air. Was that the right decision?
We went through what has been now coined the worst fire season on record for British Columbia. We were busy in all 6 of our fire centers for the better part of the 5 months. So would it have been nice to get that fire out of being held and to out? Yes. Did we have the resources to put into that steep terrain, in a safe manner to get it to being out. I don't believe we had the ability to do that.
Chapman says he understands there's frustration in the valley.
We are not going to say that we got everything 100% right. We made decisions based on the best intelligence that we had from our forecasters, from local knowledge on the ground, from our incident management teams. But could we have made different ones? Certainly, we're willing to learn.
Wildfires aren't new. They can even be healthy for the ecosystem, stimulating new growth. But the summer of 2023 was the most destructive wildfire season on record in BC. And experts say the climate crisis is contributing to extreme conditions and a greater threat of destruction. So what do we need to change? Well, a group in the Nahatlatch has a few ideas.
And then if we look up on the side hill right there, you can see a very kind of darkened spot on the far ridge right there. And that's where the fire originated, in the Kookipi Creek. And we had the winds come in, and then boom, the whole area just erupted on August 17th.
Pushed it here, down that way.
Pushed it up this way, pushed it right across the river here.
Kevin Scott has worked in the Nahatlatch for decades. His NGO, Resolve Canada, focuses on environmental restoration work. Seeing this, the destruction all through here, what goes through your mind?
It's heartbreaking. I often refer to this area as the front line of climate change in Canada. We've had the heat dome with the highest recorded temperature in all of Canadian history, the atmospheric rivers that rush through here, the burning of Lytton, and now we have this giant forest fire.
He has partnered with First Nations to create the Stein-Nahatlatch Indigenous Protected and Conserved Area. The initiative looks to protect 1.3 million hectares of land, stretching across numerous communities. At the helm, an elder and elected councillor with the Lytton First Nation.
Having more people on the ground monitoring the environment, the land, the water, the mountains, the lakes, the wildlife, the salmon that flow through our territory.
The group has specific goals. They want First Nation land guardians protecting the area year-round from threats like wildfires, working with the BC Wildfire Service to hold prescribed burns, a strategic tactic to get rid of dry forest debris which act as wildfire fuel. These burns used to be banned in BC but are now happening in some places.
Fire is not a tool that we're afraid of. Using our tools and our teachings can have a harmony of economics, of food security, of our medicines, and ensuring that our ecosystems are intact.
We have Indigenous people from our own territory that know that and have that knowledge, so why not utilize those skills and put them to work?
We've been told to back off many times because I'm not quite sure of liability concerns, but all we want to do is protect and conserve our territory.
Chapman says the BC Wildfire Service is keen to partner with First Nations, recognizing that prescribed burns are a crucial tool that is underused. He says provincial policies limit what communities can do on their land to manage and prevent fires because of risks to personal safety and frontline responders. He agrees with Spinks that fire has a role in healthy forest management.
We need to change our relationship with fire. The reality is that some fire is bad and some smoke is bad, but there is such thing as good fire and good smoke.
Chapman says an evolution is slowly happening at his organization to see how communities and residents can be more involved. On Monday, BC announced proposed amendments to the Wildfire Act that would expand partnerships between the government and First Nations to practice prescribed burns. For Chief Spinks, the need for action is urgent. His home among the many destroyed during the Lytton fire.
The thoughts are going back to 2021. You know, just a thought of having to go through the gate was really traumatizing for my whole family.
Back in the Nahatlatch, there's a commitment to regrowth. Sarah Johnston and her family are planning to stay. Rio Resort hopes to open next summer.
There were some dark moments for sure, but I didn't lose track of the feeling that this is such a special place. And I'm referring not just to Rio, but the whole Nahatlatch Valley.
Rebuilding their homes and their futures in the forest. Joel Ballard, CBC News in the Nahatlatch Valley.